Here is another course, and we are going to build together Solana DEX. That's a decentralized exchange that people don't need to put money on central exchange, but just connect their wallet and swap, and whatever they swap, they also get it back into their wallet without the risk of putting the money in a centralized exchange that gets hacked and things like that. So that is what we are going to build, which I call Solana DEX, and we are going to be using Jupiter Swap API for this particular course. So Jupiter Swap API for this particular course. So as you can see on your screen, these are the features that it will have. One, user will not be able to interact with it until they connect wallet. So it's compulsory. It says they should connect wallet, and once they select, they can connect with Phantom, with Soufflé, Magic Eden, or what other wallet they have. So let's say we are connecting with this Phantom now. That's why I open this account, so that once we do transaction, and this is on mainnet, so I'm actually spending real money. That's why I put this account here for us to see how many SOL and USDC it has. So here now, user can be able to select token. These are from Jupiter token street list. So Jupiter manage different lists, but this token are a lot. So they have street lists like verified and things like that. So you can easily search any token. For example, if I'm looking for Bonk, you can see it. You see, so and pick anyone. For now, let's just stick to SOL. Then you can swap. You can see it. All this subtle animation will build everything together as you overhand. You can turn this also to dark theme depending on your choice. So let's switch this back. We have SOL here. Then when the next thing after user connect their wallet is we want to be able to get codes for user. So that means the amount user will know that, okay, this is the amount they get. You see it now. This goes on to fetch us user a code, and then it will display. So after user connect, if we put like you want to swap, you can see, then we get live code. User should be able to get code. That means they know the amount they will receive from whatever token they are swapping or exchanging on this exchange. And these are live, powered by Jupiter Swap API. So then there's timer that try to let user know within before the code will refresh. So this will auto refresh after, you can see, like 15 seconds. So, and then it shows pricing part and things like that. So now let me do a swap live with you 0.0001, because there is the account. That's why I put it here. 006, that's what's there. So 2. So if we do, it should be 61 that will be left. So it said I will get 0.0 USDC. So let's try to do this. Let me minimize this so that we can have the notification showing. So now and confirm. So you see, we also have another recent transaction showing. So all this we build together in this course, sending transaction. They'll be able to check. So if it's successful, we'll see it. If it also fail, we'll also get the notification here. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to check the transaction on like source scan and things like that just by tapping here. So swap successful, as you can see it now, and then you'll be able to view So all this will develop it together. If you view on scan, and at the same time you'll be able to see those recent transactions here, the same as well if we tap it here, and you can see that this was 0.062 something before. We did 0.001, and this USDC has increased. So you can see the transaction and go through. So balance, see this, the amount of so, and then we got this USDC, about 16 cents of USDC. So we'll be able to build this together. Like you have seen it, this is mainnet. This is mainnet, not Devnet. So we'll be able to build all this together step by step in this video. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. I am Solomon Foske and founder of the Programming University, DPU, where I create helpful guides and courses for Web3 developer, especially in Solana ecosystem and also in EVM. So if you want to stay up to date, you don't want to miss and join this challenge of actually building real world project, full stack project, then subscribe, tap notification bell, and like and share your experience with past and this course as well. And at the same time, I want to say, doing this, releasing them free isn't easy. Time, resources, and you would like to support for me to keep doing this, please consider link for donation below at the to keep things. I really appreciate in advance. And at the same time, I'm starting up an email list for Web3 developers. I come across different update opportunities like Web3 developer jobs and things. So weekly, you want to get up to date resources, projects, developer focus projects that are launching on Solana, tools you can use, and a lot more like that into your inbox weekly. You want to get in right there. And at times, I may also reach out like, okay, what should we build inside the email? So if you want to have access to that, join the email list, and henceforth you can have access to the Programming University. A lot of our courses are now open them. I just want to create this thing. Solana courses are more free to help many Solana developer out there. So this is where you want to come in, and these are full stack course. Where we deploy it, you can see that this is deployed. This is not on local. We deploy and do everything together. So don't forget, like, subscribe, tap notification bell. You got question, ask it in the comment, and we will also be building other things, including mobile and more, on Solana, and then maybe other blockchain in future. But for now, more of Solana content. So you want to subscribe not to miss it. So let's get into the course fully. Welcome, dear friend. I'm Solomon Foske, founder of the Programming University, a free Web3 development education platform. Please note our content are for education purpose only, not financial, trading, investment, programming, or development advice into any of the platform discussed. Always do your own research. And please, we may get sponsorship, partnership, token, or whatever form during, before, or after creating this content, but we try as much as possible to remain unbiased and make it educative. If that agreed on, let's get right into this content. For you to start building a DEX, that's decentralized exchange, one of the options we have is like we have two options. We can decide to build it from scratch, and we need to be able to deal with different tokens, deal with liquidity and things like that before. And I believe that's not the best option if you don't have the huge cash to get started. And a lot of you that will be watching as a developer or employed as a developer for a project won't be able to afford that. So we have multiple options like Jupiter, which is actually an aggregator that aggregates different DEX, decentralized exchange, like Radium, Meteor, and things like that. So we also could use Radium directly and different other ones like that directly. And in future, I believe I will still be able to do and build a full-stack Solana DEX dApp using Radium and other ones. So comment below which one you want to see me do after this Jupiter base. So, but for this, we are focusing on using Jupiter. So what are the advantages of using Jupiter? And the first is that, like I told you, we have the option to build our own dApp from scratch, which is costly, time consuming, will take months. Then liquidity, the financing side. Then, or we use existing one like Jupiter, Radium, and things like that, which save cost. We don't need to have to build any infrastructure or anything to run anything. All we just need is to connect with them through their API or SDK and things like that. And then in no time, we have our DEX where people can swap. So now, if we are now using Jupiter, like I told you, Jupiter is an aggregator. So which means when you use Jupiter, you are not using like just a specific DEX. You are having access to multiple DEX in one place. So I think that's one of the something, and Jupiter is a leading DEX aggregator in Solana ecosystem. So we will be starting first from the DEX Jupiter documentation, because I always recommend it. Whatever you are building, try to at least spend some time. Even though we use AI, we do all these things, try to spend some time in the documentation. There are things you might even discover in the documentation that the AI you are using might not have up-to-date knowledge about it, which I also encountered when I was building and testing this before the course. So I will always suggest you at least just paraphrase, then you can use AI and things, even use AI to learn more about the documentation and things like that. So this is the Jupiter developer doc, and if you are new there, it's better you can start with the get started, which will put you through the base of what you need. These are the quick link: Ultra API, Swap API, Trigger API. These are the API that are available: Swap Terminal, Unified Wallet Kit, and things like that. So you want to pick, and you can see things like this now, like the API was swapped. So when I was initially using the AI and things like that, it was using the old API. So, but because I've gone through all this documentation myself, I was able to like swap it and tell it like, no, Jupiter now have a new API endpoint because we are using the free endpoint. So we are not using if this previously either is free or paid with the API key, you will use this. But now they have separated it. You only use this if you are paying through the API key. But if you are not, then this. But you know, this light version is just usually like testing, and you're just getting started for your dApp. But once you want to really have consistent swap from your users, then you will have to go for the API option. So all this one puts you through that, including, and then you can see different API. We will be using the swap API in this video, and in future course I will be handling this because Ultra API is so new. In fact, I don't know when you'll be watching, but when I was recording this video, just about a day ago, they launched the V2 or something, and so it's still very new. So we'll use the one that's already stable, which is the swap API, and then in future you can as well let me know what you want me to do with Ultra API. So then the next one, you want to set up the environment. These are things you will need to set up in your dApp that you will need, like Web3.js, SPL token, refer SDK, and things like that. But all this one depends on if maybe you are using their SDK and things like that. And this refer also, you don't really need it again. So these are things you will learn going through development basis, interacting with Solana, sending transaction, because you will be building transaction and things like that. All those things are essential. And how do you set up the API key? If you are setting up payment, you can go through, but you also have some ideas we build using env .local to ensure you don't expose your key outside. So, and the API response, you get what each of these means. So just going through this is just very quick and it's done. Then we can go back here. The major one we want to deal with is this swap API, like I told you. So that's what we want to open. We want to go to the swap API and read about, you can see the Ultra API, the successor to swap API, but still being built up and some restrictions compared to swap, but a lot of advantage as well. So we'll likely be building with it in future. For now, get code, build swap, transaction, send swap transaction. So those are the three things you should know when you want to build a dApp using Jupyter Swap API. You have about three major things. One, you want to get code, user. Let's try Jup itself.ag. Yeah, so you have a user now, and it says using Ultra. So you have a user here that the user want to, this selling and buying, selling. So when the user types so, they don't just go straight and connect wallet and swap. Let's say I connect wallet now. View more. I think I have Phantom there. I have Souffle, so I can use anyone. So if you don't want to keep reconnecting, you can, but be careful using all those things. So, but just for me, so that in case I refresh this, I don't need to manually reconnect again. So now, so it's saying insufficient, but the first thing is it has to go and get the price for you, because if the user need to have idea, you can see how it's refreshing. The user need to have idea if they want to swap or sell trade exchange whatever you call it, for USDC stable coin. They want to know how much of USDC will they get now for one You understand? So that you don't they just put one and expect them to just swap and then whatever they get. No, it doesn't work like that. So that is why it is an essential, like part of the first step. You need to get code. So as you are developing, we need to follow this step by step. We need to get a code, and then before we use it to build our transaction. So if you look here, when the user have enough something, then you click here, it build the transaction and ask the user to sign. So those are the, you see it, then send swap transaction. So when the user sees this and like, okay, I'm okay with this, with the fee or whatever, then the user click confirm and then send the transaction, and they are able to swap. I think, let me come, because I really want you to see here. Let's open it here where I can have, and we can see the flow even better. So I think this is already connected, so you can use Phantom and you can use Souffle. So those are there. Then we can now say, I want to say so 0. Let's say 0.1, and you see it now that you get the code first, so the user know. Then the next thing is you want to swap. As you try to do this swap, this is what I'm talking about building the transaction. Because you build it, you present it to the user. The user can confirm, okay, if I will be getting this minus this so, and I'll be getting this USDC. And as a developer, you can go through some accounts that will be involved, program ID and things like that. So before the user, when the user now click confirm, then that's another process. The transaction is now being sent routed through Jupyter API. You can see waiting for wallet to sign transaction. So we'll build all these things together that will be able to have notification as you are doing all those things. So you see, and you can't stay for a long time, it will expire. So you have to just cancel. If not, if you click confirm, it might not work. So I think you are able to, I just want to ensure you have this. So that's why these three steps are super important. Then other ones that you can add, for sure you want to make profit as well with your swap Solana DEX or using Jupyter. So Jupyter made it so easy by including a place you can add fee to it. So you can check this out. You add fee so that as users, that user swap, you get a percentage for yourself, and it goes straight instantly to your dedicated wallet. So this is part of the advantage you see, I think, with Jupyter API. Most other ones we take a bit of tweaking. It's not like default in their API to do that. So that's other things you want to check. And also using Jupyter for payments. So probably, do you want something like that? Payment, let me know in the comment. Maybe in future as well, I could add it up. And using the swap alternative is like a swap terminal. You can integrate like HTML, but we really want to build with this step by step. So I think we got more clarity on that. Yeah, the next thing is to now get started. Like I told you, so important is for us, we are doing like this. The next step now is we need to initialize our Next.js, but instead of just setting up our Next.js with just something, I want us to fork this repo. So I've built this from our previous course, which you can go and watch, where you build your portfolio dApp. And at the end of this course, I expect you to go and update your portfolio dApp and add this as part of your project. So we'll build and deploy it. So once you deploy it, you can go and add your repo and your deployment link. So now we are going to like fork this. If you find it helpful, remember to start it and let's fork it, so that the reason why we are forking it is we already have the wallet adapter, all those things set up, and even including if you want to integrate, like if you are running the project, you may want to include some other things that include your user signing in with their Gmail or things like that, so that you can offer them other things. Maybe you have your own NFT reward system and things like that to keep people in your DEX or in your exchange, you understand? So this makes it easier because you already integrated it with Swap. I think I use it for first case where I see we already integrated it with login, all those things like that. For both Superbase, you see all those things, you can log in with email and you can easily connect wallet. So all those things are already set up. We don't need to start building and waste a lot of time on that. Alternatively, Solana also have the startup template, which you can, but that is good for just Solana. But this have both normal Web2 backend integration with Postgres, Superbase. As you can see it, you can log in, you can add to your project and things like that. So, and you see it is also having EVM integration wallet. So that's why you can use this template as well. Now, once we fork that, let's fork this. Good. So we have this now and we can get started. Let's clone it. So we want to clone it here. New folder. So git clone, but usually at times mine might have issue because I'm using multiple git. So, but just clone it. Okay. So we have this now, and I can rename it Solana DEX Jupyter Swap API. So Solana DEX with Solana DEX with Jupyter Swap API. So this is what we are using here. So let's rename here. Then I can try to open this up. So the AI tool we'll be using is Cursor. That's what we use, and then we also use Windsurf. Previously in the last course, while I was developing, that course was long. So at a point in time, I just had issue with Cursor. So I think I updated, and then they blocked the AI. But it seems they have fixed that now. So I want to open projects. So this is Solana DEX with Jupyter Swap API with using. Yeah, okay, we are good to go. Let's open this up. Then I think I can quickly arrange this so that we can have the code. Yeah. And then minimize this as well, so that this can be one side. Yeah. So, like I always tell you, when you are on this AI, because these are part of what I prefer to switch to ask, so that whatever is doing, it gives me, and I usually use like Cloud 3.5 or 3.7, depending if you have subscription and things like that. So, because this AI is so good in coding, so than a lot of other one. I don't know, when you'll be watching, there will be other new one as well. So now we have this, your AI ready to help as well. So we got to run new terminal. So we have this, and now I think cursor change how you can hide. So if you want to hide this, you have to use this now. Yeah. So we could have this, and just like to git status. So we are on main. So that this other one, let's even start and see what we have. I use pnpm for the project, so pnpm div. Yeah, I forgot we just clone it to pnpm div, sorry, install short I, pnpm I, so I can see it. So pnpm install I. We need to make sure all the packages we have here are installed. So like I said, that's what we are using. We have wallet, all those things already sorted, so we can just access the API, because using the Jupyter API we will need wallet. Of course, you saw how it will bundle the transaction, and then the user need to sign and things like that. So we need the wallet here for sure. So we got all this installed, and to confirm, if I do the pnpm install again, it will tell me everything is ready. Good. So we are now set for us to move. So over here now, I can rerun the dev. So at least I want to see what we got. So we need those API and things like that for the env local. So usually you set all these env, so that's why it's showing those errors. So if you don't need it in your project, you can just get rid of it, but I have it already, so I will just move it in here. But because when you build things like this, you will need env local file, because your API key and things like that, if you are building actual DEX in production, you will sure need to have that. So I've moved the env.local that's expected here. So that give all the details we need for it. I think I can refresh. So yeah, we got this working now, and I always tell you, when you are developing, you want to have inspect is a good practice as a developer. So you always want to have at least a small console beside you here to be monitoring what's going on, because there are times there will be a lot of error going on that you can easily pick up from your coding. So you want to have this side way here. So let this can come out, overlap a bit. So we got this open and working now, so we can see it that we have wallets. We can connect, we can disconnect. Wallet, we can connect wallet. You can see it, select wallet. So we can select a wallet, we can collect anyone we want to connect and things like that. So we got all that working here. Those are the things we did in the previous one. So you should go and watch the course and build your use the template to build your portfolio, and then as you build now, you can be adding it over here. So now the next thing we can now do, since we have adapt template, the wallet, all those things are working, is we should now start building the DEX. So we need to get inside the app. So if you are just setting up your own project entirely, then you know that you need to set up wallet, you need to set up wallet adapter and install about this essential 4-5 packages: Solana wallet adapter base, React UI, this Web3.js. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are very important for you to set up for this. And then if the other ones we need later, I will let you know as we go on. So now the next thing we want to do, as we have this up, let's begin to, where is the doc? Okay, let's go to page. We have this page code now. We need to get rid of it, or we use another page like swap page if you are keeping this, for example. But for now, let's try and get rid of this. So what we really, at this point now, you want to ask the AI, you understand, to use this page. You tag it, or even before you, the best option, don't remove the code yet. And like, I want to create the Solana DEX using Jupyter Swap API. I have the Solana wallet integrated and working in my dApp already, as seen in that page. So remove all things in it. That page, reinforcing it, and instead place with swap using Jupyter API and using existing wallet connection. So I need 3 things for this. One, the flow that we want to follow is one, I want to ensure that user need to connect wallet before can interact with the swap. 2, user input and get codes. And then 3, user can swap. So I have some code, but I just want to give you an idea of how you talk to the AI when you are building things like this, and it can help. You can see it in our help you create a Solana DEX using this. So it's searching my code base now to see that, okay, this we'll still use the code, and don't worry, you also have access to the repo. So everything you will check link in the description, but we are learning. This is how you actually build real-world full-stack project. So especially in this AI age. So great, you can see that you already have Solana wallet. Did I pick agent? So you will need to install, you will need to run the command to use Jupyter SDK. You see all this. Then run this code. So this age now, a lot of things you can easily just create. So there are different ways you can speak with the Jupyter API. They manage some packages, but for me, I won't really be using it. I just want you to have the flow and play around. You understand? This is how you will learn. This is how you get better. You make mistake and not just for code, and you are not helping yourself career-wise. So that's why I show you some of this flow. So it's doing that. But for me, I have a code. I will paste here, and then I will break it down and explain it for you, which way like be for the swap. I think the first thing we will do is we have the component. So inside the component, we want to create a specific folder. So all this, anything you don't need, you are free to just delete them off. So let's see. But for now, let's just focus. Maybe when I can move them. Let's say we have a new folder, and this folder now we want to call it DEX. So all those things about our DEX will be there. So inside it, we want to have a component, because we don't want to put all the code actually on the page. So we want everything to be done by a component by component, and then we just import it into this page. So let this page remain for now, and I will call this whatever name you want to call it, but I'm calling it Jupyter DEX swap.tsx. So maybe I need to extend this a bit so you see the name. Yeah. So you can see that this is, and when you follow, it gives you all the instruction. So that's how you start building up gradually. You can specify the package you use. If you use PNPM, you tell it ahead of time. So now we got this now, and we'll be having this. So with this now, I will also be installing some packages. So don't worry, just follow through. I will explain everything for you here. Maybe we should hide the AI now, so we have something much clearer. So just similar to what the AI has given us here as well. You can see them. So token list from Jupyter. Let's extend. You see, these are like street lists, because Jupyter manage different token lists. So these street lists, I think they are like for verified tokens. So there are a lot of tokens, especially meme coins and things like that. So this one help to like tokens that are like gone through verification. So not every token tradable on through Jupyter API are on the street list. So you need to know what you are doing. So that's why I said it's good you go through the documentation. So if you only want to stick to verified tokens on Jupyter, then you want to use the street list. But if not, then you don't want to use the street list, so that people can trade almost any token as long as it's tradable through Jupyter API. Understand? So, but this, it might be tradable, but if it's not on the street list, then it won't show up. So it's just a similar something like those three things are what we want to do. That we want to get a quote, we want to use it to build our transaction, and then and then when user will bundle it, we submit it, so Jupiter API route can help process it for us, for the blockchain, through our RPC as well. So now let's go through this. We import, use effect and all those things to keep state, then use connect and use wallet. All this you're already familiar from previous. So if you're a beginner, take the previous course where we build this. I explain all those things, so I won't be going through a lot of this. Those ones, we have the Web3 JS as well for transaction. Then all these ones are coming from our UI, just to style button and things like that. So then Solana wallet button, that's this. We already have it in our, where we have this provider, we have Solana, and then we have this wallet button, our provider, so that manage the wallets and all those things like that. So the client is used to wrap it. Then we have it in our layout. So you have the client provider, which is coming from this, which wrap this wallet provider, and your wallet provider will still come back to it. That's where you can set, maybe you are dealing with mainnet or testnet or things like that, and you will be dealing with mainnet, because those are part of the reason why it's so essential you go through the the documentation, because if you go through the documentation, it tells us right from there that Jupiter is on mainnet. Yeah, I think it tells us that Jupiter is on mainnet, so you can't, it's not on Devnet. So everything we are building will be live DEX that is straight on mainnet. So, but if we have, I think Radium or other ones work like more also on Devnet. So everything you have to use real money to do transaction and things like that. So so we have all that help us wrap, and then we have the layout which provide this. This is multi-dApp, so that's what you have for Ethereum as well. So this client one is the one that deal with Solana. The Solana, as you can see it from here. So if you want to update, to change the cluster from like Devnet to mainnet or mainnet to Devnet, this is where we'll be using, but we'll still get to that together, because we are going to use a custom RPC Helius. So, but for now, let's still leave it like that and go back and focus back here. So we want to have this button, so we'll see it there. Then this is importing from DEX token select. So we'll still have that. We need to create that. Let's create it. New file, token select.txx. So what this does is to help us undo our interface, which is the part that handles the UI of the swap. Because when you look at the swap, it's contained, as you see it, looks so small, a lot of things going on. Like look at here, you can switch it, things like that. So all these things are part of the things, this list now. How do you manage them? Then you can search and things like that. So these are what the token select will help us undo. So that's what the token select will help us undo. So for now, let's quickly go through that, or as well I can copy the code here. So I will explain that as well. So once you have it, you can, so that I can identify it. So the error remains just one. We have this as well, but So this token select is those explanation like I've explained. Then we also have another one which we deal with transaction notification and some things like this. We want to build something that can have list of, if you are trading on like this, you can see something like show history. So we want to have some card history like that. When we trade, it can show it, at least even if it is briefly or something. It's different from the notification that is, like I want to swap now, this one just show and then disappear few seconds or things like that, sign failed. So but we want something like a card as well that will show under, if you say show history, you can see it now. So like a card like this. So we want to have that as well. So that is what the part of what that recent transaction will help us with. So let's also have that code as well. So that's what this one will be for. Recent transaction. So inside the DEX again, we create this .tsx. So we have this now. Let me get the code for it as well. So we have those two. You can comment it out and comment to identify. So those errors are gone now. So other ones as well, like I told you, all these ones like motion and things like that, they are coming from Framer. So all those things are just, when you click here, you see it. All this subtle animation. So you tap it, it turn over and things like that. So that's, we are creating ours, but I'm just showing you some things you have not built it yet. You may not see it, but all these little animations, those are the things we will use to undo them. So if any of it here is missing, just use your PNPM to install it. So in case you are starting afresh, so just copy any of these. There's something like this now at Solana wallet adapter at Web3.js, and then you install it into your project, PNPM add, and then you have it. So now, but if you have forked the template, you have all those things ready for you. So here we begin to move down to the actual code, and this is all it entails. First, we have some interface which we are using TypeScript. So if we don't define this interface, we get a lot of type error, like, oh, this is any type of things like that. So that's why we are defining the interface for token, for quote response. What are those things that will be in our response, like price and things like that. Then the interface for transaction notification, so that we don't have any error. These are things that will likely be popping up and be showing us some maybe success pending and things like that. So the next one is Jupyter DEX, and that's why I'm running through all this is we are in the AI age. I don't need to like try to type everything for you. You can always copy any of these or any part and tell the AI to explain it for you, or the whole code and tell it to comment it for you to have more clarity and things like that. So now just all you need at this age is to have basic understanding. So AI don't just create issues for you, and then you don't just vibe code and build a dApp that is just waiting to be exploited, because all you are doing is just vibe coding, which is cool, but not having basic knowledge of what is going on is bad. That's just the reality. So but vibe coding with essential experience, basic knowledge, then you're good to go with AI. So now we have a major Jupyter DEX swap component, which now we are importing declaring some constant things like that, like connection, public key connected, token, we set this, then input token, output token. All these are to be used for this. These are input token, the output we get and things like that. So that's what we are declaring here. The quote, I told you we need to get a quote and then return it. Use that to create our transaction and things that user can sign. So recent transaction, all those things are what we got here as well. So you see this like it's rotating when we are swapping, things like this. So those are the things we are declaring here. Then we have our use effect to fetch token, because if you look at this is fetching the quote at a very high speed. You might not be using this at this speed. You won't be going at this speed, except you already established a lot of like Software and all those things. Use them because these are established platform and wallet, but you will likely not be. So when you are starting your project, because the more these things do, remember you are having an API, so you want to make sure you don't overspend to still stay profitable. So those are the tips you should keep in mind. So but if you know your API and your user is not much, then you are good to go. So but I think we'll be using something around 15 seconds delay. So but it may also have side effect of transaction failing and things. So if we have this use effect as well for notification, see quote refresh and things like that, then we have fetch quotes. Let me even do that. So I created the component for the page. Help comment the code for beginner. Do not change any of it, just comment. So these are part of what I'm saying. Okay, I should just have tagged it. I forgot I was copying it again. So you see it now. So that is going on. While that is going on, let me continue to minimize it and continue to go through. I'll wait for it to be done. Yeah, so then we try to fetch quotes, which is what you see that we are calling this function here. So like I told you, that would be the first step. We need to fetch our quotes. The first thing when user want to use our DEX, when they connect their wallet, is that they want to put the amount of maybe so they want to swap to another token. So we need to fetch quote and tell them, okay, this is the amount you will get. And then when you look at this, let me expand. This. So I can say it better. So when you look at this now, yeah, the comment is ready. But what I was about showing you is part of this. When you look at this code now, as we are fetching code, you see that we are dealing with this particular API endpoint. So there are about 3 things that you can see here. So I will try to explain it for you so that when you are creating it, you understand. So this Jupyter API is coming from here at this top. You can see it, which it's saying quotes API dupe this is part of what I'm saying. So this usually now should be replaced with the latest one we have in the I will still replace it, but for now, then you see we are picking token from the street list. We just want to show, but you understand what it is now. Then there are some other ones like quote refresh seconds, max recent transaction. So all those things are just for notification and things. But this one is, it will take this URL, then v6/ and take it with this /quotes. Then this parameter is now what you are passing in. That's the input, output, amount, slippage. So the slippage are usually, good at 50, but you should read the documentation. That's why it's so essential based on your own need. And you can always speak to the official platform for support when it comes to launching an actual production hub, so that you get the best for it. So when you talk to Jupiter team, I believe they will help you with that, because you want to make sure you set what will be profitable for you. And at the same time, this is not actually fee, this is just slippage. But you don't want, when there's too much of slippage, that means your user lose a lot of money, they won't come back. And then when they don't lose much, but most of their transactions are also failing, then they don't. So you want to have that, then /quotes, then it pass in all these parameter, which will be what user have put in. So that's how this is being constructed. Then normally as API you get your response and things like that. So let's try and apply this and see. So you can see it, how it's commented all this out. This will be removed, and then so I just make sure I try to go through to ensure it's not rewriting anything for me. So it's just comment as requested. So accept the file. So this also help now, at least it's, I think by the time I'm committing this, you will have all this comment there. So you see it. So this will help you even better. I'll say the token. So you can go through, I think this deal with switching of token. So this input change when you put, and one thing is, I'm coming. So that's what I talked to you about, the refresh rate. So you want to make sure you don't over refresh things. It shouldn't be also too fast or things like that, but at the same time it should not be too slow. So then, and we have deal with fetch quotes. So then you get quote and things like that, and if there is error, it will then undo input amount changes. So as user putting all those things as it's changing and updating, then when token are switched, using that switch, you have that as well. Then the execute is another giant aspect of it, because this is like the aspect when user got quotes, approve, pop them, approve, and then execute the swap actually. So this go through a lot of those. All these things are for notification. So you can see them, test notification, show preparing transaction, prepare swap request body. So these are things that the swap. So remember, just like we add the quote, so we take that same API that we are using, and then we add dealing with route. That means the route to get code is different from the route to do the actual swap. So you have to have a clear understanding of that. So this is the route for the swap. But remember, when we are doing the quotes, we are doing slash quote. You can see it, then passing the parameter. So, but here now we are doing slash swap. You can see this now. And then the other thing will now be in the body of it. And what will be in the body will be the quote response that we got, the price, all those things, the user public key, and then all other things that is being handled. There are a lot of things here that the Jupyter API has just simplified for you, but it's just good. That's why I'm taking the time to give you, to help you have understanding, so that in case you want to adjust some things, but most of these things you don't want to adjust it, except for rare cases you want to build your own transaction. If not, you will always be good with most of this, and then you want to check if there's any error or things like that. So all this, then you want to deserialize the transaction and sign the transaction. So you build the transaction, you bundle it, user is to sign the transaction, like, okay, I want to do this. So you have to, the format you get from, I think from the API, you need to deserialize it and things like that. Then update this one for notification, send transaction to network. So when you have everything ready, then you want to send it to the Solana blockchain. Then create, this one is for transaction notification, update recent transaction list. This one will update the list like we saw here. So those are the major things: show success and update transaction status as well, reset input amount. So if you want, once transaction is done, you want to reset the input, then we set all this to, including the quotes, we set it to no, because the user will have to now start afresh again and things like that. So this means, especially when it's successful, when the swap is already successful. So all these are for the toast notification to dismiss them as they should. So, and this is actually what the user is seeing, which is the UI, and this is just showing things. You can see the swap interface, you have the input. You know, the swap interface is usually two. This is the swap interface. You have input, you have the output of what the person is swapping. So we'll all still see this together, but at least I try to break the code down for you. Then the switch, and those are the major things you see there. If you get confused of anything, you can as well ask the AI and comment below. So now let's say we got this ready. Let's quickly have a run through the token select. Like I told you, you can always pick it and ask the AI. This one is majorly just helping us to manage the UI interface, so you can go through that as well. It makes it easier to manage, and the same with the recent transaction as well. You can see it. All this is the transaction here that will be shown like here, that we can check things like that. So you can see something like this. So you see it, and then we'll be able to go and check this transaction or so scan. So let's go back to the code. So we have this ready now. We can now go back to, let's open this back. I want to hide the AI so we can have the code more on screen. Then we have this three essential things now. I don't think we have no error on any one of them. So if you got error, you can fix. So we want to go back to this page where we actually want to use it. So there's the page. Remember, we got this for now. This is what we got in the home page for now. So we want to get that off. We need to reduce this. So we need to get that off now. And all we need to do is to call the let's clear this and import I want to import Jupyter DEX swap. Yeah, so it's imported it for us. So from A, and then we can now export default. So can call it a usual home or something. Default function. Yeah. So if I refresh this now, I think we may get an empty. You see it now. So we just get nothing is being loaded. We have our header here and then our footer, but so we got to put something, return something here. For that, we want to return we can just return the Jupyter DEX, but so that I can style a bit. So we'll do some bit of styling there. So here we have, let's have a div. And then we can put in the Jupyter swap here. So let's see. Cool. So we got this now, and you can see, but let's give it more spacing. It's just choked up, and all this should come, so we have it more. So that's why we need some CSS here. So for that, we can have class name, screen. Let's see as we adjust. Make it flex. Center. And then we can like also justify this center. Justify center. So let's see what we got with this. So you can see it now that we got this down, but I think we should have this also a bit at least or something. And this minimum flex enter. So we got our interface now. So because here, I think I made a mistake here. Let's see. Good. So I missed this S here. So we have, this is much better and looking nicer now. And since we have in our template, we have themes, so you can always, if you like dark theme, and so those are advantage of starting with those templates, because a lot of things is already base ones are done for you. So whichever you prefer here. So you can see these are what I was talking about. All these subtle animations as you hover, and each of these you can see it. Each is having its own animation. Then here, let's disconnect this and then reload this page. Now, as we reload this page now, you can see it that I cannot interact with any of these. I can't type anything here. So I can't interact with them. See? Even though I can swap or something, but essentially I can't swap or do anything. You can see it. Based on, you remember what I was telling the AI then, the flow. Those are what you need to do when you are dealing with AI. The more you have some of those understanding, the better. So that, okay, this is the flow. And also with that documentation, we understand that, okay, these three things are essential for us to do. So now that we have this swap, so we can, I think, let's go to the project. No, sorry. Navigation. So we can rename this now. To Solana DEX. Maybe something like that. So we can have something more related to what we are doing here. You see it. So Solana DEX, Jupyter. So any other thing you want to fix, you can fix. But then we also have the footer as well. If you want to customize that, we'll still test this. I just want to make sure at least what we are having here, they are beginning to look more. So this Jupyter DEX, you can always copy inside the code and F3 and search for it. So Solana DEX. let's just put something like so by Jupiter Swap API. Let's see. So you can just customize it. I'm just showing you some of those things you can do to at least just a bit of this. Then we'll go back to the feature. I think we should just make this one P. And then we don't need the size to be this large, maybe just X. Okay, so Solana DEX. Okay, yes. For now, let me just leave it like this. Powered by Jupiter Swap. So that's just, you can ask your AI to style for you. Anyway, let me leave. I like it short. Yeah, looking more neat. So those are things you can adjust. For example, like here now we have, you receive. If we go to, you receive, if you want to turn it to sell, you understand? Buying, selling. You pay, you receive whatever you want to send, turn it to, like, you receive this, you can turn it to buying. I think that's what Jupe is using, you see it. So, but I will keep it at you receive for now. So those are how you can start playing around since we have the interface. Now the flow is that if we come here and click select, user can't swap do anything. You need to select first, connect wallet. So you can use Phantom, we can use Souffle, anyone. So we have this connected, and immediately we connect this, we have, you can pay working, and we can as well select token list. So if we tap here now, you can see. So I think there are a lot of all these error coming because it's making call to some of these icon and things like that. So but this doesn't disturb what. So from here now you can search token, you can scroll. These are lots, huge number of token on the street list. So you can imagine if we are not even using street lists, that would be a lot. So you see it now. So we can search for any, let's say we look for Bonk, for example. You see it now, and we can select it. So when I put quote, let's go back to so first. You have so. Let's put one, and let's see if the quote is working. Cool. You can see it now that is working. It's showing us the actual price of so. So if we doubt that, we can as well go to, okay, go back to Jupe itself and put one so. And here it says one so is 160.01. Let's go back. You see it is very near, like minimum received. So you can see that this is refreshing, like every 15 seconds. We have a timer that is giving the user idea, but what we have here is even much faster. I think maybe around 15 seconds, but it's not showing time. Let me see if we don't really have timer here, but maybe around that same time also. Maybe you can see it. So then this shows, you see that it's now 159.3. it was 0.2 before, so you see it now. So we can see that this and the same thing is telling us what we receive here, and also giving us the price impact that we have. So let's say we want to swap 10, you see it, and swap 1000, then we are having more price impact. So we allow it to give us a fresh quote, and let's see. So you see now, so this is actually working live. This is actually working live, and you know, this use different multiple routes through the API as well. So this keep refreshing at any point in time. So we have one, and I can swap this. So it tells me I will get 0.1541 USDC. So at times it might not be instantly correct. You let it refresh. Then in the next refresh, it will give a more correct update. So you can see it now that what I will actually get is 0.6. So then I can return it. You see, it said 6 USDC, but once it refresh again, it will update itself. So here we go, and let's say, can we do other token like bonk? Oh. So if you want it instant refresh, you clear it, and then, so because if we just change it, we have to clear it and do this, so it will instantly. So we need 1 million of it to get about 19 USDC. So you see it now. So if you want it instantly, you have to clear it. Even if not, you have to wait for the next refresh to get the price. So now we have a lot of things already working with what we've got here, which I've explained to you, and you get the code as well, link in the description. So we'll test more of the feature now, and you let me know also in the comment which feature you want to see, you would like to see in this. Maybe in feature one, like I said, I may, based on response I get here. So make sure you share the video as well, so that it hits at least 100 likes. I may do the feature update version that will include some of your suggested features right inside as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the email list in the description, where weekly I will be sending out updates of about Web3 development and opportunities like jobs and things I see in Solana ecosystem and other blockchain as well. So you want to join the email list, so, and share the video with others and as well. So you can see it now. So let's go back. I want to have it in so, and then like one. So you can search, you can switch. It's not just anyone. You see it. So it doesn't have to be a stable coin. Let's look for any random coin. So you see it now. One so, but that may not be correct. So we need to wait or clear this and get instant price. So I want to wait for this anyway. Do you see it now? So it corrects itself, and or you just clear here and get instant accurate codes. So and whatever we now have here, we have fulfilled out of the 3 steps, we have fulfilled one, which is to get the code. Now we need to build the transaction so that user can check, and that is when user can click on swap, and we have a pop-up that will bring those one up for us, and then after that we can have it sent to the blockchain. So we'll try that together now as well, but let me see if there's any other thing we need to add. I think not really any here. So other ones is just the UI. If you want to customize, like I told you, anything you don't need here, you can remove it and just customize the name, the color, and things like that. So you have a lot of the features already there for you. So I can always disconnect and reconnect. So let's see any other thing here. Like I said, you got questions and things, let me know in the comments. Push the video to 100 likes and more are coming, all for free. Yeah, coming. So let's see. So and that means you will ensure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. But more importantly, join that email list if you want to stay up to date with opportunities and more from in Web3 development. So features, launches, partnership, and more like that in the email list. So we have all that sorted. So now it's time for us to do our transaction. For us to do that, I think this test wallet, I don't think I have. Yeah, so let me do it on air. Since the wallets I have here, still have some soul. So right here now, let's, you can't do all this, so we have to select, can't type there, select, we can use Phantom, we can use Souffle. Inside is connecting. So we have this wallet connected. I think I want to show the wallet so that whatever we do, we'll be able to see what's happening. So if I use Phantom and use the sidebar, we'll be able to see it. Yeah, so this is the wallet now, and we got the Solana here, and we got USDC here as well. So now let's move to swap. We don't have much so here, so let's test something like 0.0001. Then we are getting 0.159 USDC. So click swap. Then you see this coming up, you can see. Now, you notice some things are missing here, which are our notification. We are not getting any like pop-up here and things like that, which is expected based on the code. So let's see what we missed and try to fix it up. So inside the code, we got the header. Let's close that. So we are dealing with just this. Let's see. So there are some packages that I want us to install. So that we need to put, and then it will help us with the notification that seems currently missing there. So yeah, we need these packages coming. Let's go to package. I want to check if when you fork the repo, maybe we have it pre. We need Lucid. Seems that one is installed. We need Framer Motion, Lucid React, and Sonar. Oh, they're already installed. So that means as when you fork the repo, you will see all those things we need them. But in case your notification is not working on error, you will try to look for all these and ensure they are there, this animation and then. So now, since we have that confirmed working, then we need to go and output this in our layout. So what we want to do in our layout is to include like toaster. That's the type of notification that pop up, just like when we are using, if we are using here now. And I click swap, you see this coming up. So cancel failed. So that's what we want to show up. So to have that, we need to import toaster and give it some styling. So I'll just do that. So here we can have import toaster. We still have a lot of options that we'll put there, but this is coming from Sonar. Import toaster from Sonar. So we are importing this now. That's from Sonar. We'll still adjust some things, but let's even try it if anything is even coming up. So as we try to, well, this has been refreshed. Or let's even just put one first and click swap. You can see it now. Oh, you can't see it. Let me move the page. Good. You can see this is what I'm saying. Waiting for wallet approval. And then we have our wallet pop up here. So this would have pop up, but because we have this sidebar, it will pop up inline inside it. So if we cancel it now, watch here, see swap failed. User rejected the request. So the same is this error as well. If we check it, user rejected the request. So you see it now that it's becoming more interactive for our user. So what we will do there is, let's get back. inside the code. So there are some options you can put depending on if you observe some things. Like now, that's like a default. We can position it to be at the top. So I will copy some of this for you, so that by the time I push this code later that you want to fork it, you can have those options and play around it by location now. So you can see it now, like position. It can be bottom, center, bottom left. Like when it was showing before, it was like bottom left. So let's retry again. See. You see it now? That is now centered. And we can as well, let's cancel. Okay, we are using dark theme. Yeah, so if I'm using light theme now, you can see it. That is centered compared to previously it was at the side. If, for example, now I take it back, you see it is now here. So that's why I will put that in the code, so that you have the opportunity to adjust some of these things. Maybe like duration, you want it to stay, and the background, you want it to be whatever, just adjust it right here. But you don't need all this if you are okay with the default. So I just want to show that for you. So now after this, now we have things much interactive. I think that's one of those things we didn't see then. So let me refresh this page entirely. And let's have this. Say 159 and then try to swap. You see it, waiting wallet approval. Then we cancel, swap failed, user rejected request. So now we have this also working. What else before we do the final testing? All these are working as well. We can swap it up, down. We have this giving us pricing part, then we can swap. I think we are now ready to swap. So like I said, let me know any other feature you want to see in future updates. Let's try something. Since remember this mainnet, so I'm actually using, I have to like use real money here. So you can see it now. It's saying it want to, do, but there's something I think I want to. Okay, let's try and confirm. Sending transaction. So you see it. Load an address table that doesn't exist. So I will still go back. I intentionally want us to have some errors like this. Let's retry. At times normal transaction fail, but always check that network fee not to be high. So we keep getting this simulation. So let's get back inside here. And as I said, having understanding, when you are dealing with this, we are dealing with a mainnet, I told you. So your wallet is in mainnet, fine, but your wallet provider is still in Devnet. So some of you, as you fork some of those things, you're like, oh, you need to have this turn to mainnet. So we have to change this and make it a mainnet. That's one. Another thing we will now do, okay, let's see, mainnet. Yeah, so we have this in mainnet now. Let's go back. at times we need to refresh so that something can have a full effect. One. No, sorry. The wallet doesn't have that, so 0.21065. So let's swap. Confirm. You can see now error code message access forbidden. So you are beginning to see it now. That's why I'm taking it step by step for you to understand that your RPC and all those things matters a lot. So you can see it that because Solana blockchain rely on RPC before you can communicate with them. So if there is any mismatch or something, so we have Devnet and we are trying to make transaction on mainnet, so it doesn't match. But once we sort that, we are now getting another error. So did you get that error? Let me know in the comment. And at this point, based on your experience with Solana, what do you think could have caused this issue? Before you watch ahead, just pause and comment below what could cause the issue. Now, when you look at this now, saying swap error 403, that's forbidden. That means we are denied access. 403 like access denied. So message, you see access forbidden and things like that. So the major thing that would have caused, if you focus, if you face that, is that when we are using this, if we go to online and look for Solana RPC list, or you usually get, I think, from Solana Foundation. Yeah. So this list now coming, you can see it shows example of, no, these are public endpoints. You understand? So these are endpoints. As we are doing this, you know, we are taking this from Web3.js. This wallet now. I'm coming. Wallet adapter. Okay, coming from Solana wallet adapter. And then cluster API URL coming from Web3.js. So now we are actually accessing this API mainnet dash beta, and then when we are doing the devnet, we are actually accessing this. And because we are now in a production environment, most projects block this endpoint because it's free, so people can easily use it to manipulate and, you know, abuse their maybe free endpoint and things. So they usually want you to have a more dedicated RPC to do your work. So now what we are going to be using is Helius. So for us, we'll be using Helius, and you can set up account with Helius and get your code, which will be your API access and the Helius endpoint, just like this. So coming, yeah, you want to go to Helius. When you click start building, it takes you to your dashboard and you retrieve the API from there. So that API now, and you have this something like this now, but for Helius it's still free. you can test it free. So, but when you are actually building into your full production, then you also want to upgrade, or else the same thing will happen. They will just limit you when they notice a lot of load is coming from your free usage. They will block your user IP and your domain, project DApp domain or something. So you don't want that. So you want to upgrade to it. So now let's go back to here, and we want to go back to our env.local. So you want to put your API inside the env.local, which I think I will have an example here, for you, so that you can follow that example. You can follow. But if you want to go and locate, remember I told you the wallet, we've set it up. So, and since this is now issue with the wallet that's using the cluster and things like that, you want to go here and you want to go back where we change everything here to from what it was to like mainnet. Then we want to now set that endpoint so that we can actually change from using this mainnet. I've told you the cluster URL you see here is this, and they're already blocking it, so it's forbidden. So we need to now change it to what you will get from Helius, and it will be something like this. Let's comment this out, and instead we want to have something like this: Helius RPC endpoint, or other RPC the API key. So then inside this now we can const the same endpoint we have up there, endpoint, and we want to use memo as usual. Then inside this, so now we want to have this. So usually it's like you're having something like this here. Yep. Like you're having just something like this, but that's not what we'll be using. I'm just trying to give you an example of it. So if you got from Helius, you will get something like this instead. So it will be, you see it, mainnet Helius RPC.com, and then you will need to have your API key. And you don't want to expose your API key publicly in the front end, or else other people will use it and abuse it, and they will block you. And if it is paid, they will just exhaust your credit. So you don't want to put that out there. So we have some things we need to also put here. So as we see it now, we have this in place of that public one, and we are using our API key that is inside this env.local. So you want to make sure you are using that as well. Put that. So that's what we are using, processing env. So that means your Helios key should be saved in this format. Coming. Let me put it inside the sample. Like RPC. Helios. So it will be something like this. Then your whatever the key, I'm just doing this randomly. So whatever the key for the Helios will be here. So once you have this, then it will be able to export it out and access it inside the wallet. That's why. So instead of showing it, this will process it. And when we are like deploying from previous course you can learn, you will see how we put the env already, so you can see it now. Then other ones can be there. So you can, all these are already okay. If you want to add more adapter, you can add it to it. So we have this ready. Let's go back now and test it and see what will happen. So you just see what we did is to replace this. When it was Devnet, we changed it to mainnet, but because it was just accessing that public free something then. But this, or even though it's free, it's limited with your API, which means it has limits, unlike that other one. And then if you misuse it, you can easily get blocked. So let's go back now and refresh this. Instead of swap being blocked, let's refresh this and then try it again. So all these are just hydration error. You can 0.101. So then I want to swap, waiting for wallet approval, then we confirm. So you see it said invalid API key provided. So it says our API key is not, you see what I'm saying? So you need to ensure you set up your API key and everything is correct. So, but now we have moved from just 403 not being authorized to now knowing that, okay, actually our RPC have access now, but it's saying we should check our API key. So I will do that and then we'll be back and try to check to see this working. So checking the invalid. So let's go back inside the wallet provider. Can you let me know in the comment, did you observe anything that might have? Because it said our invalid API key. So it's either the API key we are using, you should check it if it's okay. Yeah. So, but I think there's a kind of typo issue here. One is that this is using like normal quotes instead of this. So that's the first one. And I then close this. So you can see it that it changed color. Before it was just seeing everything like a text. So, but you know, it's not just a text. We need to also turn this to retrieve the API from here. So now we have the API here, and then let's give it a try. But at least this error was different from what we usually get from access blocked and things like that. So 0.0001, so swap, waiting for approval, confirm, sending transaction. Whoop! We did it. So you can see it now. So sending, you can even as well click here to see the transaction in SoScan. So it's still sending, so we don't know if it will be successful or not yet. So that's why you are not seeing it here. So you can just wait for this notification. Was not confirmed in 30 seconds. Yeah, at times you just try to check. So things like that, we had issue in the first course where you can allow for more retry. So all these are things, features you can add so that it reduces the failure rate, but at the same time you don't want to have too much time because you know those prices changes a lot. So let's retry and quickly approve and see, and then you can see those recent transactions. So before you check here, just wait, because we have built all this to show the, if it's successful to tell us here, and then we can go to SoScan. If you go there now, it won't show any transaction. Transaction was not confirmed. Then at times maybe, but most times it just has failed. So these are things you want to adjust. At times you may need to just refresh entirely, but let's try and we can refresh again. So, but now we can see that the transaction is now, we have been able to fulfill that 3 stages of getting quote, constructing a transaction and then sending it to the blockchain. So that's what we are having now. So this is already like set and done. It's just the transaction. At times amount we are trying to coming 011. Let's see. Let's try swapping that. So now we got swap successful. You can see it, and when you click view on SoScan, and at the same time also you can tap here because that will soon disappear. You can tap here and this as well, open to the same SoScan, so we can see it. Token balance change. So this is the wallet change plus 0.24 USDC. So it's got 0.24, and a lot of the changes were done. You will see, this next thing. So a lot of this SO was removed, the amount of SO we traded, and then the USDC we eventually got was this. So you can see now that we are able to trade this successfully. So how transaction to land, there are priority fees and things like that. All those ones will depend on if you are going into production, how much you want to pay when there's congestion in the network and things like that, that will determine how this will go. So we were able to without any error. So that means our Solana DEX powered by Jupyter Swap API is now working. So the next section is for us to now take it and deploy it so that anyone can make use of it. But you should know, if you are actually to start using this for production, that you want to start, ensure you also reach out to the Jupyter team. I would suggest that, so that you get the best in terms of pricing for, you use premium API and settings you need to ensure your transaction land much faster, even in congestion, without really having to pay too much. And then you set your price for the fee you want to be charging. So if we look here, so this is already done now. We're able to do a transaction successfully. So, and you can see that this also changed. It's now like 37 point something, and this was like 0065 before. So it's now reduced, and we have this increased. So that's how you can trade different token. So here now we are done with this. Is for also to do that, let's go back. You want to make sure your code and whatever you don't want, you remove, and those things you've done, and so that you can push it. So I think in the previous course we opened account for so you can use any host. I'm using Vercel. So I think we open an account we are using for tutorial there. Yeah, that was when we deployed the demo. That was the portfolio. Yeah, portfolio DApp. So then we can add new project. But we need to push our DEX. We need to push. So let's hit status. We had a lot of changes. On a normal day, it should have been adding, but now I'm teaching, so concentrating on all these things. As you had some basic feature, you push. So in case you not lose large portion of, imagine all these things that we are done, and then maybe somehow we forget or things, and then you lose the code and have to start over. So we are on main branch here. You always like to, the best is git checkout b v.1. So create another branch so that it won't be the main. So git status, then git add, git status, okay, git commit Solana DEX API done. Yeah, I need to configure. So you will likely not have issues like this. These are issues I get because I use multiple GitHub, so contributing to different work or project and things like that. So most times it's a bit thing when you are trying to set up an account for the first time like that. So let's try the commit again. Because I've used to be multiple GitHub accounts, it's not easy to manage on PC like that. So I have that. I think I should be able to push now, right? Git push. Yeah, since we just created a branch, so we need to create the upstream. Git status. So if we go back here, we should have the repo by now. So this is what we just pushed. Let's try to merge it. Oh, I push it to that wasn't where I intend to push it to. So I want to push it just to the main of this. Sorry, I'm already I need to be back here. Then I was checking the programming one. Yeah, so contribute, open pair requests. So I want to ensure I'm on my own main. Yeah. Great. So because it's this my own main that I want to push, not the program. So that's the issue you can have, because it will default want to push it to main of where the repo was forked from. That wasn't the intention. So yeah. DEX API done. So I think we have that sorted. I will see. Yeah, because I focused, so it's now ahead because I've pushed to it. So now we need to go back here inside Vercel projects, then this, the one we are importing, I want to give it same similar name as this, like Solana DEX with Jupyter swap API. So however you want to name it. So DEX with Jupyter API. So remember, when you're using PNPM non-build, because you are using PNPM, so I've taught in the first course here as well, PNPM install. Or else it will go and make use of NPM, and if there is any issue you won't be able to replicate it because you are using PNPM. Then we need to put in our environment variables. Yeah, we add them here. So all you need is copy them and move them here. So put in your environment variables, which will be the API key of Helius, and maybe if you are also keeping the one for Supabase and all those things, you put them all there. Then we click on deploy. So if all is fine, it will deploy. So you can see now it's in progress, and hopefully we can just get it deployed once without error. But most time you have one or two things that you forget somewhere that might even be typed error or something like that. So it hardly, we ought to have even run build here before we even, so that in case there's any typed error, could have but figure it out ourselves. And let's see. Hopefully it's usually about maybe a minute or so, but it's over that now. So it seems it's deploying outputs now. You can Watch here, there's no error yet. Cool, we have it deployed. Congrats, we built and deploy Solana DEX using Jupyter Swap API. Cool. So this now on, and we can continue to dashboard. Where we can now have this. So Solana DEX with Jupyter Swap API. So I can copy this now. So this has been successfully deployed, and anyone with this can check. Let me see. Well, we tested this before, so with the same wallet, let's try and see. I think once we do that, it's so we have 0063. So let's try and swap again. So you know that this is now hosted. It's no more on the same like when we're on local server. So, and everything still work well. So normally we need to select wallet before we can interact. So then 0.0001, and then one more. Then we try to swap. Let's see. Waiting for wallet. Oh, it's not been reviewed yet. Proceed with caution. Okay. So the fee, confirm. Sending transaction. Cool, swap successful. So we got it. You can see it now. You can confirm here. So scan. I see that this has now reduced to 6.2. Yeah, so I think we successfully built a Solana DEX, Decentralized Exchange, full stack, and we're able to build it. We're able to go through, learn a lot, and deploy it. So at the same time, we have tested it on local here and got successful transaction, and also we deploy it and got a successful transaction as well. This one is online now, so and it works. Can check and swap to different crypto and swap it up and down and things like that, and it worked. So that's it. You as well, the repo will be linked in the description. So what are the features that you feel should be added in future, and which one have you tried as well? You can access the repo, build it, and don't forget to add it to your portfolio. So you should be able to add it up to your portfolio, your repo, fork the repo, add a repo, build, and then as well share with me as well in below those things if you built, and I may check them out as well. So meanwhile, join the email list so that you stay up to date with on weekly like opportunities going on in Solana and beyond into Web3 development space as a whole, maybe tech going up, AI tools you can check out to do job opportunities for developers. So just stick on into the email, and don't forget, if you have found this helpful, like, subscribe, share, and support with a donation. Link in the description as well.